Montclair State hosts the NCAA tournament but can't get the W against Washington College. And if it's fall, it's basketball season. The Redhawks hit the court home and away. All that and more on Inside the Nest.
It was a big weekend here at Montclair State University as the men's soccer team was chosen to host the first and second rounds of the Division III tournament. Just a week earlier, the Redhawks played host to Rowan in the NJAC semifinal, and they hoped to start a championship run. After unfortunately falling short, they had a second life on Saturday, and the excitement was palpable. And then the weather came in. After a delay of about 90 minutes featuring lightning, pouring rain, and strong winds, the game was able to continue in some less than ideal conditions, and the play matched the weather. Ugly. A game that only featured 5 shots on goal saw a turning point in the 50th minute when a handball in the box resulted in a Montclair State penalty kick. The golden left foot of freshman Amir Lukovic provided the difference with...
Here comes Lukovic, a score! Amir Lukovic breaks the tie, it's 1-0 Montclair State.
Despite the score, Gordon didn't go away easily, as they had some really good opportunities to find the equalizer. But it was senior keeper Shane Keenan stepping up and stamping the Redhawks' ticket to the second round. First, in the 70th minute, after a bit of a breakdown, Keenan made a diving save with his body to keep the ball out of the net. And then, possibly the save of the year, with the ball bouncing around the box, Keenan went vertical to stop a header from Ben Mollenhauer in the 75th minute.
Back over the middle, another header, but nabbed by Keenan.
Coach Tumulty talked about his team's resolve bouncing back from back-to-back losses.
That was one of our big fears coming into the game. We just kind of on a downward spiral. But I knew we had, all the confidence in the world in the team. And we just had to, kind of feel a little bit better about ourselves. So all week in practice, we were just kind of trying to keep it upbeat and happy, and it transformed into the game, which was good.
After taking care of business in the first game, the Redhawks awaited the winner of Game 2 between St. Lawrence and Washington College. Certainly less drama in Game 2, as Washington College broke the tie right before the half on a goal from James Strine, and then about 10 minutes into the second half, Greg Adams added an insurance score to help the Shoremen into round number 2. Adams spoke post-game about a rematch with the Redhawks, whom they fell to 3-1 back in September.
When we played Montclair State early in the year, it was one of our first games, and it didn't go too well for us. They ended up beating us 3-1. But we knew they were a very good team already, and I think that game kind of cemented that for us. What we learned, though, is that we can play our game. There were moments where we had chances, and so I think we just got to come into this game confidently. But ultimately, we have to respect every player on that team because we know everyone is very good, and it's definitely going to be a battle.
The Shoremen had their chance at revenge on Sunday night under the lights at Pitzer Field. However, the stakes were much bigger this time, with a spot in the Sweet 16 on the line. It was a quiet first half for most of the game, but the Redhawks had a golden opportunity to open the scoring. But a pair of spectacular saves, one by defenseman Chris Comber, kept the game even. The game stayed deadlocked late into the second half until the 72nd minute when Greg Adams took matters into his own hands. Montclair State battled and had a few terrific opportunities, none better than a wild sequence off of a corner kick with 5 minutes to play. After catching a break, the Shoremen took advantage in a big way as Eric Gauds put the icing on the cake with just over a minute remaining. A valiant effort from Montclair State, but Washington College continued their Cinderella run to the Sweet 16, where they will face Tufts in the next round.
This is a tough fought game for both teams. Everyone, worked really hard, and we obviously were on the wrong side of it today. So I'm excited about the future. I think there's a lot of young talent we have, and I also think that, going forward, this is definitely a setback for us, but, hopefully they'll have a positive outcome in the future of the Redhawks.
It was a tough loss for the Redhawks, but they had some small victories along the way by making Montclair State's 20th appearance of all time in the tournament. With the end of one season brings the beginning of another. The men's and women's basketball teams both took to the courts this past week, opening up their seasons.
The basketball season has begun and the men's team is ready to get things started, but first we have to take a little dive into it because there's a few things that they're going to need to focus on in order to be successful this season. And we're going to break it all down here on Jon's Top 5 list. All right, now let's dive into it. Come on, my boy Jason, give it to me. Number 5, turnovers. Bang! The Red Hawks averaged 22 turnovers a game last season. They led the NJAC in turnovers, such a high number. This season, that won't fly. They'll need to have complete ball control and limit the careless plays. Number 4, assists, because you know Montclair State knows how to drop them dimes like no other. Montclair State averaged the second most in the NJAC last season with 15 a game. They've shown that their chemistry on the court is unmatched. If they can keep playing unselfishly, they'll be a tough team to beat. Injuries, injuries, injuries. They're a commonplace on any team, but they got to stay healthy and productive for this season. A costly injury that they had last season was Steve Bremen. He averaged 16 points and 9 rebounds a game. In the 4 games that he played, he had double digits in points in all of them. Bremen won't wow you with his athletic abilities, but he can get you whatever you need on the floor at any given time. If he can stay healthy this season, the Red Hawks will have another dominant veteran who can make plays in key moments. Number 2, who will be their big man? They lost big man Malachi Smythe, or who I like to call him Mighty Smythe, last season. He graduated. Although they have veterans like Irvin Callender IV and Bremen, their play type is more of a stretch 4 because they could stretch the floor and really shoot the ball. I'm eager to see who becomes their next force down low. And last, but certainly not least, shooting, because you got to be able to shoot the rock. Last season, the Red Hawks were 6th in the NJAC in field goal percentage and shot 29% from three-point range. The focus this offseason, according to Coach Potts, was to bring in some shooters, and he believes that they've done that. The Red Hawks had their first 2 games of the season. Now let's take a deeper look to see if they followed through with these 5 points. In the season opener, they defeated Brooklyn College 91-68. They shared the ball well and had 21 assists on the night, with Keon Price being the leading assist man with 7. So number 4 on the list was all taken care of. Number 2 also followed with Steve Bremen and Irvin Callender IV stepping up big time down low. Callender had a double-double, 16 points and 12 rebounds, while Bremen led the team with 17 points on the night and added 6 rebounds. And buckets were falling left and right for the Red Hawks as they shot 54% from the field and had 13 threes on the night. In Game 2, they did not stick to the list and lost to DeSales University 79-67. They didn't handle the ball well, turning the ball over 12 times. And those shots weren't finding their mark, dropping the field goal percentage to 39%. They went 6 for 29 from the three-point line. But no worries, the Red Hawks will have a chance to bounce back. They face Valley Forge on Thursday, November 17th at Panzer.
Just rolls off. Jack Bartek alongside Jon Edmond. If you're just joining us, getting ready for the season opener for the Montclair State men's basketball team. You can feel it buzzing already here at the Panzer Athletic Center. It feels really good to be here surrounded by fans, Jack. You could just feel the energy in the crowd. Bremen pulling a 3-ball and rattles home. And Mills pushing the tempo, going right up with the right hand off the back iron and in. Lambert coast to coast with some finesse on the lane. Kicks out, Mills a triple. It's good! Callender, good pump, step back. Knocks it down, a long 2 for Callender. Bremen has Flanagan, triple. State Red Hawks start their season 1-0. Great 91-68 victory over Brooklyn College.
You know, the momentum, once you make a big play, the momentum's on our side. This is, like, I believe, one of the hardest places to play in the NJAC. And for the fans to be back means a lot.
The women's basketball team took the floor for the first time this season on Saturday as they played in the Coaches vs. Cancer Classic against Washington College. They got off to a slow start, and despite a late comeback, they couldn't recover, falling to Washington College 55-47. Their following matchup on Sunday showed a completely different outlook for the Red Hawks as they dominated Penn State Abington 90-30. We caught up with Nikki Carter after the weekend to get her thoughts on the start of the season.
The first game was a little bit rough. We definitely looked like it was our first game of the season, but I think it was good to get all of our mistakes kind of out of our system, and then we really bounced back the next day, and I think that we knew what we did wrong and we improved on it immediately. I think we're all really excited. I think getting those games out of our system was good. We got our mistakes out, like I said, and then by playing the next day, and we felt really good about after that game, so I think that put us in a good position to play the rest of the season.